Shut up and sit down.
Greetings, fellow travelers. Oblyx here, coming at you today from a test world. And today, we're going to be looking at this guy, the digital miner from Mekanism. Now, this has by far been one of the most requested tutorials that I've had to date. Everybody's saying, Oblyx, you showed us how to make 5 ingots out of 1 ore. You showed us how to make a ridiculous amount of power with Mekanism, but you haven't shown us how to get those ores. So today we're going to take care of that. Now I've got a gold block here in the ground because I'm going to target right here to place this machine. You see in my hand it's not very big, right? But when I place it down, it's going to grow. Boom. Placed it right on the gold block, and you see that gold block is gone. You can't hardly see it at all. You see just a little clip of it right there. It's because this guy takes a 3 by 3 centered on whatever block you place it on, and it is 2 blocks tall. So you want to make sure you leave plenty of space for it to work. Now let's kind of walk around and take a look at it. You can access the interface from any direction, any side, doesn't matter. You don't have to be at the front, though the front has got a cool look to it, and I just broke it because that's things. Now these ports here on the sides, these are your power ports, so there's one there, and there's one over here. Then in the back here, this is your export. So this will push items out of the machine and send it out into your storage system. This port on the top is an import. This will let you replace blocks that the system mines with other blocks. And I'll show you this later. Now to use this, you have to put an inventory directly on top, such as a chest, like so. You can't feed it with pipes. That will not work. You have to just give it an inventory. Now I'm going to place another one. Hello, chicken. Hello, dog. I'm going to place another one right on top, and I'm going to get rid of this one because we're going to go underneath and look. You will see an extra port down here. This is also power. So power, power, power. You can power any of the 3. You do not need to power all 3. Any one of the 3 will work just fine. So let's bring it back down here to usable height and take a look at it. So here's our interface. If we right click on it, okay, chicken, you're getting annoying. So this is our interface. This is our status. This is what's going on with it. We can start the machine, stop the machine, configure it. We can reset the machine. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Auto eject. Now, if this is not checked, and you'll see right here if it's on or off. If it's off, it will collect the items right here in this buffer. If it's on, it will try to push those items out of that port right there. So that could go out to your storage system or your 5x ore duplicator or whatever. Now, auto pull. This is what tells it to use this port up here and pull items out of, remember, it has to be an inventory like a chest or a bin. It will pull out of that inventory into the machine, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. That's right here. Whether it's on or off is right here. So if I click it, it turns on. Click it again, it turns off. Same with auto eject, on and off. See how it's changing right here? Now this is silk touch. Yes, this machine can silk touch items. So you want to get lapis, it will go pull lapis. With it off, it's going to pull the actual piece of lapis. If I silk touch on, it's going to pull the lapis ore or the block. Okay, chicken, you gotta go. Yeah, you just all over my nerves with the cluck. And be gone. Now, where were we before we were so rudely interrupted? So that is Silk Touch. Now be aware, if you have this on in this state right here, it uses 6 times the amount of power. Yep, 6 times. That's a huge amount of power, so be careful. Now, this tells you that everything's going fine. Here's your power buffer right here. If we're feeding the machine power, it will light up green. This is a power port. If you choose to not power the machine by plugging things in here, you can power it with something like an energy cube or a tablet by just simply putting it right there. That is a possibility, though of course it will drain. Now I'm using an infinite energy cube, so this one will never drain, but if you use, say for example, one of these basic energy cubes, this only has 8000 RF, so it will drain fairly quickly. Now this is your visuals on and off. Now what this does when you click it, it tells the machine to show you the area in which it's going to mine. Now this one's not going to do anything right now because we don't have it set up for that, but we will absolutely look at that here in just a little bit because this is super important for you figuring out what you want to do. This is your energy, as it is with all Mekanism machines, and we can see the capacity, how much it needs, and what the free buffer is. Now by clicking it, you can change from the various energy types. So there's EU, Tesla, joules, and RF. Most people want RF. It makes no change on the machine other than just the way it shows the RF. Now this is your redstone mode. If you want to be able to turn the machine on and off with redstone, you can adjust this. So we got a high, a low, and a disabled, just like we do with all Mekanism machines. This is your security, if you choose to add security to it so other people can't interact with it. And we'll talk about that later in some other video where we get into security. We won't delve into that today. Now this is your upgrades slot. So if we click on this, this is the same upgrade panel we get with every Mekanism machine. And if we look at the upgrades, now all Mekanism machines show you down here what upgrades they will accept. This one accepts speed, energy, and anchor. So this is the speed one. So if we look at that guy, and this is the energy one, and this is the anchor. Now you can put in 8 speed upgrades, 8 energy upgrades, and 1 anchor. So the speed upgrades obviously do what's written on the tin, right? They make the machine faster. You can see this is 1.33 times for each upgrade, and you can do up to 8. You have 1 of 8. We add an energy upgrade. See, now we come down here, click energy, which says energy up here. We got 1 of 8, and it's 1.33 times. So it's now using less energy. So if we come back here, we see it now wants 320 RF. If we come up here and take that energy upgrade out, and then go back, see now it's 426 RF. See how it went down? It went from 426 to, what was it, 300 and some odd? Just by that one upgrade. So imagine you put 8 in here, it's going to get quite a bit less. Now the anchor upgrade. This keeps the machine chunk loaded, just like it's written on there. If you hold shift, it tells you. Pop it in there. You can only do 1 of these. It says 1 of 1, but this keeps the machine chunk loaded, so I can leave the area and the machine's still going to continue to work. So every now and then you'll find packs that have this particular item disabled, so you may or may not be able to make it in your pack, but it is a part of Mekanism. So that's basically everything there is to know about the interface here, except for we're going to need to talk about this config button. Now what this does is let you define what is it you want to mine and from where. So right now we can see that we have 0 filters active. The filters will show up here as we add them. We're doing a radius of 10. We're starting at level 0 and going to level 60. And we are not in inverse mode. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I'm going to raise this up to, say, 80. So we're at a minimum of 0, so that is down at bedrock, and we're going to go up to a height of 80, and we're going to do a radius of 10 around the miner. So remember that gold block that's under here, right at the center of this machine? The center of the machine at this bottom layer, it's going to count out 10 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to count out to here, and it's going to count out 10 on the other side, 10 on the back, and 10 on the front. And that's going to be the area in which it mines. And we can visualize that if we just do this. So that is a much easier way to visualize it. And we're going all the way down to bedrock, which is why you don't see a bottom, and we're going up to 80. So this will be level 80 right here. So everything inside this box, including the outer edge, is going to be mined, or potentially mined, based on our filters that we're going to set inside the machine. So let's adjust this a little bit and see what changes. So if I stop being it down here at 0 and say come up to 70, we can see now we can see the bottom of the box. So you see it's brought the bottom up, but it's left the top and the sides where they are. So everything in this box now gets mined. So if we come in here and say change the radius to 5, you can see it's gotten half the size, but it's always centered on the miner itself. You can't offset from the miner. So I can't say take this whole box and move it over here. That won't work. I can expand the box to encompass that area, but I can't move it without physically moving the digital miner. So that's one of the big differences between a digital miner from Mekanism and, say, a builder from RF Tools. They can do very similar things as far as item destruction or item removal from the world. But the RF Tools builder, you can offset the block. Or offset the area in which it's working. The digital miner for Mekanism, you cannot. So now let's look at filters. Well, let's talk about inverse mode real quick, because it's a fairly easy concept. As we add filters, we define what we're going to mine. If you want to mine coal, you put coal in there and it will go get coal, and only coal. If you switch to inverse mode, and see that turns to on right there, it lets you know if it's on or off. If you switch it to inverse mode, it will ignore the filter and mine everything else. So whatever's in the filter it won't get, and everything else in the world it will get. So just depends on how you wish to configure it. Most people will leave it off. And there's some specific instances where you might want to go in inverse mode. Now let's look at the filters. There are 4 different types of filters. Now these filters are the exact same filters that are used in a logistical sorter. Man, brain not working. So this guy right here. It's the exact same filters. So if I come look at filters, it's exactly the same. You look at this interface, it's basically the same. Very, 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 very similar. The filters are identical. So if you learn the filters for the digital miner, you've learned the filters for the logistical sorter, and you can use this device too, which is incredibly powerful. We'll talk about it later when we look at item sorting and things like that in another video. So let's start with item stack. Now, item stack is one of the lesser used ones, but is very, very powerful. It can do things like harvest items you can place in the world. For example, dandelions. You know, you want to put a bunch of dandelions out in the world, or you want the machine to harvest a bunch of dandelions in the world, we use item stack. So if I click on item stack and I say, harvest dandelions, please, and do a fuzzy mode, because this lets you pick up things that change direction, such as levers and buttons, stuff like that. Anything that might alter its direction, it allows you to catch that as well. So if we say yes, mine dandelions, and turn it on, now we've got to bring our radius down because we're pretty high right now. We got to come down a little bit, or not our radius, our height. So we want to bring this down to about 60. And we can bring this down to about 70 just to lessen the amount of time it takes. We can see, there we go. That should get all of our dandelions. So we don't need silk touch because you don't need to silk touch dandelions. But we are going to pull all of those. And if we just tell the machine to start, we see that it's already started collecting dandelions. And it goes in a pattern. And we have no upgrades. Oh, we have one upgrade on this machine, so it's not going to run terribly quickly. But you can see it is harvesting the dandelions for us. And there's the last one. And they're all gone. And brought into the machine's inventory. So, could you use this to build a flower farm? Abso-freaking-lutely. Let's turn this off because it gets annoying. If you were in a flower biome and you set up a dispenser under the ground with some bone meal that bone milled an area of ground, and then you just left this guy running, he would go harvest the flowers for you. No problem. Let's see here. If we do some bone meal. Now, I can't remember if dandelions show up in this biome or not. They do. So if we tell this guy stop, reset, and then start, he'll go back through and he'll grab those dandelions for us. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So just a decent way to grab things that you might want out of the world. Again, it's anything placeable. There are a few limitations, like string can't be harvested. There are a few limitations around it. You can use it for regular old blocks as well if you just so want. Now reset just tells the machine, hey, forget what you've been doing. You already partway through a process. Forget about that. I want to reconfigure you. It opens up that configuration option. It doesn't change your configuration, your filters. It just kind of it stops the progress of where it's at, tells it start over from scratch. So that's what the reset button does. So let's delete this config. Now, if we look at item stacks, you can add other, more normal items. Like, if I just wanted grass, for example, I could do it with an item config. Just pop grass in there, and notice it's getting grass block. Hit save, and it'll mine all the grass blocks. Now, obviously, I would want to silk touch those. Otherwise, they're going to show up as dirt because it's going to mine them without silk touch. So, and remember, there's a 6-time power penalty if you're silk touching. So that is the item stack. So we can delete that. Well, let's look at this guy, require replace. Now this shows up in every one of the filters. And I'll do a demonstration of this later, but what this does, when it harvests the item, if you want it to replace the item with something else, you could. So you could actually tell this guy to say harvest wheat and replace it with seeds. Now, would that work? I honestly have no idea. We could try it later. But if you want to harvest, say, gold from under the ground down here, but you don't want to leave big pockets of dark space for mobs to spawn, you could have that replaced with cobblestone or smooth stone or dirt or anything you have a ton of. So just pop that in here, tell it yes, require replacement, and when it pulls the gold out of the ground, it will replace it with cobblestone or whatever you have in this block. So this is the area where you put what you want to harvest. This is the area where you put if you want to replace it. Now, require replace and not require replace. Require replace is if I said put cobble in there and I don't have any, I run out of cobblestone up here in the storage. Remember, we got to have a storage item, such as a chest. If my chest runs out of cobblestone, the machine will just shut down. It says, okay, I can't replace any more items. I'm done until you fill up more cobblestone. If you don't put the required in there, then the machine will keep running and it'll just leave pockets of empty space down there. But that will allow mobs to spawn, so be careful. Now, OR dictionary. OR dictionary is a super powerful one. It allows you to get items that are similar, but not the same. For example, spruce wood and oak wood and birch wood. If you wanted to harvest all of those, then you would use an OR filter. Now, if you're not sure what OR filter to use, you want to use this guy. Also for Mekanism, it's called a dictionary. If you pull this out and you click on any item, notice in the bottom left it will show you the dictionary name. Now this is log wood with a capital W. That is important. Make sure you note that. This one has no key. So the fern, large fern, has no key, which means it's not in the OR dictionary, the Mekanism OR dictionary. So if you wanted to use this guy, you would need to actually add it to the OR dictionary. But this guy is in there. He's log wood. If you wanted to do leaves, tree leaves. So let's look at those other logs, our oak and our birch. So if I look at oak, it is also log wood. If I look at birch, it is also log wood. So if I just go harvest log wood, I would get all of those guys. So if I come into my machine and do config, new filter, OR dictionary, and just type it exactly like it was written, log capital wood, and hit enter, it's going to put a representation of what that item looks like here. If it can, it's going to try. I'm going to hit enter, and basically that's telling the machine to go harvest all wood logs that are available in Minecraft that meet that same OR dictionary. Anyone, you can click on that and it says log wood. If I wanted grass, click on it, it says grass. Podzol, there's some podzol over here somewhere. There it is. Notice it has no key, but I could key this to grass and get grass and podzol together. So that's a possibility. You can add to the OR dictionary keys. We'll get into that in another video. So I want to keep this one a little more simplistic. But that's how you use the OR dictionary filter. You target specific groups of items. Now material, this is the one where you get just basically whatever it is you want. So if I wanted, for example, diorite, I would do a config, new filter, material. I would have to have already mined a block of diorite, at least one, pop it in there, hit save, and now it's going to go grab all the diorite it can find. Or remember, I can always do the inverse of that and get everything but diorite. That's a possibility as well. And of course you can also set it to replace, just like you can with all the others. So this is where you target individual items that maybe are not in the OR dictionary. Now I will show you in a little bit how to use this OR dictionary in a very powerful way. But let's move on with the last one. Last one is mod ID. This allows you to grab all items from any mod in Minecraft. So if you want everything from Mekanism, you type in Mekanism and hit enter. And notice it's going to pull every single item that exists from Mekanism is going to show up in that box. Keep in mind, that includes the digital miner. So that could be a problem. That includes all the cables and power and everything. So you could actually mine your whole base if you're using a lot of Mekanism. You need to be very careful with this one. Another one, for example, you could use is Minecraft, because Minecraft counts itself as a mod. And you'll see there's a few items that can't be rendered, but there's a bunch that can, like stairs. This will let you get everything in Minecraft that's in vanilla Minecraft. So when I look over the block, you see my one probe up there at the top left says Minecraft underneath it. Anything that has that blue Minecraft on it can be harvested with that ore setting. Now, obviously, the miner has Mekanism in blue, so that would be mined by the Mekanism setting. So that is the mod filter. Now let's take a quick look at Ore Dictionary, because this is the one you're going to use most often, because most people want this machine to go out and get the gold and the iron and the copper and the tin and the diamonds and all that stuff, emeralds. So you say, Oblyx, I don't want to have to go in and put every single one of those in here all at one time, because that's a big pain, and I haven't found diamonds yet. I'm building the machine because I wanted to go find diamonds. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. It's easy. We're going to type in star, which is an asterisk, the shift of number 8. We're going to type in ore and star. Star, ore, star. This is going to tell the machine to go out and get every ore in the game. Yes, you can use wildcards on this. So anyone familiar with Boolean, you can absolutely use wildcards. And you notice it's just running through all the different ores that are available. The lapis and the redstone and the diamonds and the emeralds and the quartz. You can use this guy in the nether if you want. So anything that is counted as an ore. For example, though, let's see if I can find it easily. Aha! If you're out mining in the nether, that's not an ore. That's just glowstone, so it would not harvest that. But if you want it, you can absolutely add it. So we would do our ore dictionary. So I'd come in here and do star, ore, star, and that's going to get all the ores that are in the nether. But then I'm going to add a new filter, material, glowstone, and save. So that's going to get all the ores, and that's going to get the glowstone. And then I'm going to make sure that silk touch is set, because to mine glowstone, you have to silk touch. Otherwise, you're just going to get a bunch of powder, which if you want the powder, hey, that's fine. 6 is 1/2 dozen of the other, right? Remember, 6 times power drain if you're silk touching, so be careful of that. So that is the basic setup and all the available filters on the digital miner. So let's take a look at some things we can do with this guy. So first off is powering him. So you can power it in lots of different ways. Any of the standard power. Ooh, we are so going to turn off our block sounds. I turned them down earlier and it's still not enough. Those wind generators are so loud. So here I'm powering it with solar panels, and we've got, 5 of them on here? It's more than enough to keep it going. Now this guy is full of speed upgrades. He's got all 8, and he's full of energy upgrades. He's got all 8 of those as well. So he is set to the ore dictionary, and he's using the star, ore, star, and he is silk touching. So remember, he's going to draw 6 times the amount of power. He's going to need 2,500 RF per tick. So if we turn him on, we see him collecting items fairly quickly, and our power's not decreasing. So 5 solars is enough to keep this guy chugging. What about wind? Well, we got 10 winds, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, we got 13. But we're fairly low. Remember, how higher you put wind generators, the faster they are, or the more power they produce. Now this guy's got the same filter setup. You see he's running pretty quick. He's got all the upgrades, and he's not losing any RF either, so he's able to do it as well. So very doable. You know, it's not that hard to make a few generators. But Oblyx, I just can't afford to make all those generators. It's too time consuming, too much effort, can't do it. Whatever reason, could I do it with just one little piddly solar? Sure. Same setup, though he has energy upgrades but no speed upgrades, because speed upgrades cost power. So he only needs 25 RF per tick. We crank him up. That's all he's going to get out of this guy. It's pretty low. You will see the power start to degrade as he starts to mine, but that's okay. As soon as he has more, he will go harvest another block. So it's going to be slow going, but yes, you can mine with just one little sad solar panel. So that is a thing. So now that we've got these guys powered, let's see what we can do with them. One of the things is make a big hole. Very similar to the RF Tools Builder, it can mine out large holes all the way down to bedrock. And yes, it does get all those little fiddly bits that are hidden underneath that are really hard to get to. It absolutely will go mine those, but it will not mine the bedrock, of course. And this is an example of how it can export, what's up, sheep? Of how it can export those items into a chest. So we've just got logistical transporters up here. I'm using the Ultimate, but you could use the basic or any of them, doesn't matter. Or any other mods cables for that matter will work back here. And we're just dumping them into personal chest. And you can see all the stuff it pulled out of that hole right there. So we got some diamonds, redstone, lapis, diorite, andesite, granite, dirt, all the things you would expect. Obviously I did not have Silk Touch turned on, which is why we got all the cobblestone. Filled up a second chest, filled up a third chest, and notice a surprise. We did get all the wood, the saplings, the apples, all the stuff that fell on the ground, the flint, all that it mined as well. So even the items from the world, and you can see it cleanly shave these trees off, which is pretty cool looking, I think. I mean, this guy cut him right there and just went all the way down. Yeah, he's set to, I believe, a radius of 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, radius of 5. So, and a height of 80. So he's mining just underneath him all the way down to bedrock. So that's something you can do. Now, let's look at replacing of items. So I've got a machine set here, and I've got a bunch of clay set up, or concrete set up in here. And what I want to do is I want to mine out all the trees and replace the leaves with green concrete and the wood with brown concrete. So I've set that up in here. So I built, or we're going to actually set that up together to show you how to set the replace items. But I have preloaded the concrete in there. So we're going to do a config, and we're going to do, I think I want to do or dictionary. And remember, just because, well, these are all oak trees, so it really won't matter. But if there were birch or something and I wanted to do those as well, we could do them. So that would be log wood, and that would be tree leaves. So if I do a config and do or dictionary, and I do log, oops, remember we got to be capital, log wood. Now I want to set it to replace that with brown clay and require it. And then save. And then I want to do a new one that's or dictionary, and I want to do tree leaves. And I want to replace that with green clay. And save that. Now, Now let's look at my area. I think I've got the area already preset. I do. That's pretty good. Yep, that's going to get a nice little area there. And we want to make sure we're pulling, which we are. We want a silk touch so we get those leaves back. We want those leaves back. And we're not auto ejecting. We're just going to keep it in the internal inventory. And did I put upgrades on this guy? I did not. Let's do that real quick so he's not terribly slow. So remember, we can do 8 of these guys and 8 of these guys. Sorry, I should have done this ahead of time. Actually, we really don't care about the power. We just want the speed. We've got creative power, so we're good. Now, without the power upgrades, this guy's going to pull about 4,000, I think 4,500 RF a tick, if I remember right. It's pretty hungry. So you better have some decent power generation going on. So we're getting 10 times the performance, or 10 times the speed. And, oh wow, insufficient energy buffer, even with an infinite energy cube. So we are going to have to put in some energy upgrades. And that should get the guy happy. Yeah, you can see, okay, he's starting to come down. And he's down to 3.2 thousand, 2.4 thousand RF per tick. So let's start this guy and see what happens. So he's going to mine 819 blocks. And it says he's missing a block. Oh, which block is here? Why are you not pulling? I might have to do these one at a time. I may have to do these one at a time. Let's see. That's my leaf one. I want to leave that one first. That's the wood one. Let's just delete that one for now. And yeah, it still thinks it's missing. I've not actually tried the personal chest on top of this thing before. I usually use the bin. Yeah, it wants the... It does not like the personal chest. Let's do this. And switch to a bin. And we'll use a creative bin. The problem with the bins is you can only have one item. I wonder if I can use, let's try actually a vanilla chest and see if it gets happier with that. Oh yeah, that definitely got happier. It's already started doing its thing. It's collecting leaves and replacing them with, we see it working over here, with the concrete. That just looks weird. So it didn't like the personal chest. It wanted a vanilla Minecraft chest. So let's go ahead and stop that, reset it, config it, do a new OR dictionary, and do, wait, what was it? I forget what it was. That's why it's important to have this little guy here, log wood. Alright, so log wood, configure, OR dictionary, log wood, there we go. And replace that with brown concrete, please. Require replace, yes. Save it. And start it. So now that should get the logs and the leaves. But you can see it going through here. Oh, it's already started getting some of the logs. Nice. Hello, dog. That's pretty cool. So it'll take it a little time, but eventually we're going to have this very interesting landscape that used to be trees that is all of a sudden turned into concrete. Now it's doing this corner over here. It works by corner, so it'll start with that corner, then that corner. It's reading the different chunks So we're just outside of these chunks. So it started with this chunk over here and then did this chunk, and now it's doing this chunk. And then it'll come back over here and do this chunk. So, but you can see it cruising along, and it's doing a faithful translation of the items from one thing into another. This would be make a good little prank on somebody. I do not encourage you to do that without talking to your server's admins before you do it, because it could seriously tick some people off. But it would be a funny little prank if you had permission, and maybe they did a world backup before you did it so it could be easily replaced and recovered from. It'd be a good little prank to switch everybody's trees over faithfully. And if you kept all the material, you could flip them back relatively easily. Especially if you, like this was a birch tree here, if you did a different color, instead of the brown, you did gray or something, or white, and a different color leaf, like maybe you did lime green for the oak and green for the birch, it would make it real easy to put it back exactly the way it was, because you see it's faithfully converting it, you know, one for one. Yeah, there's a mostly concrete tree. It's just goofy looking. Yeah, here's one here as well. It's pretty much all concrete, all but these last little 2 blocks out to the side over here. These probably will decay because they're on the outside. Yeah, see, that one's already decayed. Yeah, definitely interesting. Some of the things you can do with this machine. But let's move on. We'll leave that to sit there and run. Actually, I'll throw an anchor in it, and we'll let it run. And maybe check it out when we get done with our last thing here, just to see what it did, because I am definitely curious. Oh, we're out of blocks. We need more blocks. Oh yeah, it's run through all the green concrete. Let's get it some more concrete, just so it can keep cruising for us. Looks like we definitely need a lot more green than we do brown. That should make it happy. All right, we'll let that guy cruise. So I've built the most amazing house ever created in Minecraft over here on this little island. It is gorgeous, and I will accept nobody saying otherwise. It's pretty awful. But the goal wasn't to build a pretty house. The goal was to use a lot of different material. A bunch of different items, you know. So we've got dark oak stairs, we got spruce, we got glass, we got fence posts, we got torches and slabs, and iron bars and glass panes and glowstone and logs and doors and carpet and beds and ender chests and you know, just your basic little starter house that everyone might have. We have an end rod here. Underneath the carpet here, we've got sea lanterns, so we have those as well. But I want to show you what you can do with this machine. Let's get that out of my inventory, because I've set up a digital miner underneath right here with some harvesting ability, and I've configured it to mine everything in the world that is Minecraft. Yep, every single thing. And I've already preset our height, and we are going to silk touch because there is things like glass and ender chest and stuff. And let's just start this guy going and let him start pulling items. Which he's pulled a couple pieces of grass already. Did I not upgrade him? Of course I didn't. Why would I have done that? Let's get some upgrades in him so he can hurry up a little bit. Should have done this ahead of time too. Sorry about that. Let's get those popped in there. He should start pulling a little bit quicker. There we go. Got some seed. It's cool that it can pull items as well. That's pretty spiffy. Let's get some energy upgrades. So we turn back on. There he goes. Now we see him cranking. And if we come up here, we see him just mining the world away. Which is pretty awesome. Doop, doop, doop. So he's set to start chopping at about this layer here. And there he goes, chopping into the house. So if you built a house and you're like, you know what, I don't really like this house, but I want to save the resources from it. Well, okay. You know, this is an option. And we're going to see together, because I've actually never tried this before, we're going to see together what it saved. Did it save the glowstone? Did it save the glass panes? Did it save the iron bars? And we're going to see the slabs, the stairs, all that stuff. Basically ripped the side of the house open right now. There's a torch there that fell off when it pulled that block away. A couple of them. We'll see if it gets those torches. Oh, yeah. It's going line by line through the chunk. It's going to grab the sea lanterns next. There we go. That's pretty darn cool. Seeing it just strip away that house. Now, if you had a big old mountain and you wanted to get rid of the mountain, you know, this would be a good machine to do that. If you didn't have a builder, an RF Tools builder, it would take care of that for you. And it doesn't look like it's going to grab the carpet and those torches, I don't think. I wonder if I reset it and told it to. It does look like it got the jukebox, so that's a plus. Oh, I had a stack of diamonds in one of the chests. It did not grab the stack of diamonds. It just cleaned out the chest, threw it all over the floor. It did get the end rod. It got the ender chest. That's awesome. It did get the glass panes, the iron bars, and the sea lanterns. It did not break the glowstone. That's pretty awesome. So it looks like it's grabbing most things fairly well without damaging them. It did not touch the bed, interestingly enough. I want to reset it because I want to see if it will grab those items that are on the ground. It does not look like it wants to grab those. So all these items you're just going to have to pick up manually. So I wouldn't start it and just walk away, because you're definitely going to lose a little bit of resources. But by far and large, it's doing a pretty darn good job at maintaining the resources for us as it removes this house. Definitely very cool. You know, that you have the ability to kind of, you know, start the destruction process and then walk away and do some other things. You know, just be in the general range and pop over here every now and then and collect the items that are on the ground. You know, or if you don't care, hey, torches, I don't really care. I've got enough coal, it doesn't matter. You just let those be destroyed. That's fine. And there you go. The house is gone, with the exception of the bed. So, pretty darn cool. And we got a stack of diamonds. One in the river for my homies. So, let's get a free hand and get on back over here and see if we're done. Oh, yeah. Looks like we're done. That is pretty darn cool, I gotta say. That is pretty darn cool that you could do that. So imagine if you built a cobblestone, a wall out of cobblestone blocks early in the game. You know, you were starting out day one and, you know, you started building your little house. Maybe you built your house out of cobblestone. You're like, oh, that's, you know, all I can afford day one. I'll change it out later. But you don't have a block swapping wand or something like that. You know, you got your little cobblestone wand and or cobblestone wall, and you really don't want to come in here. You know, maybe you like the had some, you know, good-looking spruce logs here on the side, and you don't want to mess with those. But you know, you don't like the cobblestone. You know, you got Oh yeah, okay, got a nice little retaining wall here, but I really don't like this cobblestone. Man, now that I've got access to better materials, I'd rather do like, oh, let's pick something. Man, I think this red terracotta would really do it. I think if we just replaced everything with red terracotta, it would be amazing. Well, you can come in and do that. Or you could just tell your little machine, do it for you. And this wall could be massive. And just like we did with the trees here, it will replace all the cobblestone with the red terracotta, no problem. That is the power of the digital miner. So it's very, very similar to the RF Tools Builder. There is more that the RF Tools Builder can do. But there are some different things that the digital miner can do that the RF Tools Builder can't. Like replacing blocks one with another, or harvesting plants. Is something the RF Tools Builder can't do that the digital miner from Mekanism can. So a very valuable tool. The worst part is learning these filters and how to set them up to get what you want out of the machine. So hopefully this tutorial kind of helped with that. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the down yonder, and I will be happy to answer them if I can. I am not always the best, but I do try my best. So until next time, get out there and make some noise. See ya!